Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about the interview that Alec Baldwin did with George on ABC about the shooting that occurred on the set of Rust. So I'm going to play this clip and I'll go into some of the things that he talks about in just a second. So let's take a look.
This was a completely incidental shot, an angle that may not have ended up in the film at all. But we kept doing this, and so then I said to her, now in this scene I'm going to cock the gun. I said, do you want to see that? And she said, yes. So I take the gun and I start to cock the gun. I'm not going to pull the trigger. I said, do you see that? She goes, well, just cheat it down and tilt it down a little bit like that. And I cock the gun. I go, can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see that? And she says, and then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
All right, let's talk about this. So the movie Rust was supposed to be set in a Wild West theme. And he's using a revolver. So let's talk about a revolver. So just so everyone is clear, this is a revolver. It is completely empty. And this would be called checking the gun, right? So this is a 22. No telling what he was using on the set. So basically what he says is he cocks the hammer, right? But he doesn't cock it all the way back. So let me do it like this. So he cocks the hammer, but he doesn't cock it all the way back. Now at this point, you'd have to pull the trigger, right? But what he does is, you notice my finger is not on the trigger. He does like a little half cock, lets it go, boom. Right? See? Boom. He's not cocking it all the way back. So technically, he could be correct when he says he didn't pull the trigger, but nonetheless, he caused the gun to shoot. A gun or firearm does not simply just shoot. Someone has to cause it to shoot. So, cocks the gun, releases the hammer, bang. That is enough force on that hammer going forward to strike the firing pin. Or in this case, there is no firing pin. The actual firing pin is on the tip here. So this going forward is what hits the primer on the cartridge. So him not cocking it all the way back would be what caused the gun to fire. So he simply just did a half cock, and my green screen and all that's jacked up right now, but he does a half cock, lets it go, bang. Let's hear that one more time. Let me rewind the clip.
And then I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off. I let go of the hammer of the gun and the gun goes off.
At the moment, the decisive
That was the moment
moment.
the gun went off, yeah. That was the moment the gun went off.
It wasn't in the script for the trigger to be pulled.
Well, the trigger wasn't pulled. I didn't pull the trigger.
So you never pulled the trigger.
No. I would never point a gun at anyone and pull a trigger at them, never. Never. That was the training that I had. You don't point a gun at me and pull the trigger. On day one of my instruction in this business, people said to me, never take a gun and go click, 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 because even though it's incremental, you damage the firing pin on the gun if you do that. Don't do that.
Now, granted, some of the things that he said it can be true in certain firearms about the firing pin, but he didn't cock the hammer all the way back. So that means he was ultimately what caused the gun to go off. He did not do a proper weapons check to ensure that the firearm was completely empty. You never just grab a gun, pull the hammer back or whatever, unless you are certain that you yourself visually inspect the firearm that is handed to you. Pulling a hammer back and letting it go will cause the gun to go off. Another thing about revolvers is sometimes, what my father always instilled in me on revolvers, particularly this one because this was one that my father gave me. He would always keep one chamber empty, and that one would be the one that the firing pin would sit directly behind, the empty chamber. Because in some situations in revolvers, if you were to, and my camera's messing up, if you were to strike this, or this fell on the ground, there's just a little bit of play. I don't know if you can see that on the camera. That little bit of play is what goes forward and hits the primer on the cartridge. So theoretically, if there was a bullet behind this and I was to hit this with a hammer or drop it on the ground, that could be enough to fire that cartridge. So as far as a safety, an extra safety measure, I was always told, keep one of these empty and make sure that that empty slot would be directly behind the hammer. So in case anything did hit this or you did drop it, it wouldn't fire. So that's the only thing that I want to touch on. Guns don't automatically just shoot for no reason. Somebody has to cause them to shoot. In this case, the fatal mistake that Baldwin made was halfway cocking and letting go of the firing or the hammer. He did not cock it all the way back. If he cocked it all the way back, it would have stayed there until he pressed the trigger. So that's all I have. Poor firearms safety in that case. Until next time, take care.